You can't turn the corner without hearing about it, instilling fear and concern over anyone that hears its name. The coronavirus, or COVID-19, as public health officials call it. COVID-19 is responsible for thousands of deaths in China, where the virus originated, and around the world, with the elderly and those with underlying health issues mostly at risk. As the pandemic continues to spread with growing numbers in the U.S., more and more employers are telling their domestic workers to stay home. On Friday, President Trump declared a national emergency over the coronavirus outbreak. Now, it's important to note that a heck of a lot of people that have been diagnosed with coronavirus have made a full recovery. Now, by no means do we have any experts on the coronavirus on the show today, but any factual information we quote will be from the CDC, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, which you can visit for more information on COVID-19 at CDC.gov. All right, let's get started. My guests today work in two different fields at this time, and like many of us, myself included, have been directly impacted by the coronavirus fears blanketing America, particularly here in Southern California. Claire is an assignment editor with CBS KCAL in Los Angeles, and Kateri Wozni is a freelance reporter and senior technical writer. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, that was a long-winded little intro I had to do because we're doing things a little differently. In fact, because of this coronavirus, I've had to adjust my podcast a little differently. Now, we're in season 2 right now, but I haven't actually booked any guests where we meet in person. Normally, I would go out and meet at a restaurant or some coffee shop and record it there. But I mean, right now, a lot of businesses are also changing the way they operate. Mm-hmm. And some have even closed down, at least for the remainder of the month, again, because of this coronavirus concern. So
I've seen a lot of businesses email their customers and say they've adjusted their store hours. Either start later in the day or close earlier. And that's just hurting, I'm sure, a lot of workers getting hours cut back.
Oh, yeah. I've seen, I got an email last night just about the grocery stores in general, how they're adjusting their hours. They usually open up around like 5 or 6, but because there's such a high demand right now, they're opening at like 8 o'clock in the morning and then closing at like 11 at night. So. Yeah.
Well, talking about grocery stores, I just have to mention, what is up with all these hoarding with people? Like, come on.
I don't understand the toilet paper thing at all.
Yeah, I don't. It's almost like one of these crazy challenges that pop up on social media every now and then. And that's kind of how it feels to me. Because, I don't get it. Why the toilet paper? Why?
I actually saw a couple Instagram posts where a couple different grocery stores made a toilet paper cake. They were selling it, and that was actually like pretty funny. I would totally eat that. But yeah, when I went to my Vons yesterday, there was literally no paper products. There was no paper plates. There was no paper towels. There was no toilet paper at all. So luckily I didn't need to buy that, but I was just kind of curious. That's why I went down those aisles. Like, what's really going on?
Well, and I've been seeing a lot of people give toilet paper as gifts now for birthday parties and whatever else.
Actually, there's a radio station up where I live in Oxnard. They are giving away rolls of, or maybe even a case of toilet paper, and it's like a contest. And I just heard it yesterday driving home.
Wow.
And I was just laughing so hard because that's desperate times right there. So.
And I wonder where they even got the toilet paper to do the contest.
I don't even know. But I did see online, like I did just a random Google search for like I typed in Bounty paper towels or like Charmin toilet paper, and you can buy it online from different suppliers. So.
Yeah. Well, and then food, of course, is also gone. Like at first I was like, all right, toilet paper, okay, but the food, just it's all good. And then I hear that all the food is gone. And yesterday, Claire and I actually went to the store to just get some ingredients for dinner, and we had a coupon for Gelson's Market. It was like, it's usually a fancy schmancy place, a little high priced for me to shop on a regular basis, but we figured it might be stocked because of that. And so we get there and pretty much all the fresh produce was gone. You still had your cakes and your cookies and all that stuff. There was plenty of that stuff.
Oh yeah.
But if you were looking for fresh veggies, you just couldn't find them. It was just crazy.
You couldn't get your squash.
No. And then,
there's a squash waiting for you to go home with you today, I promise.
And then the weekend before, we went to Costco. First we stopped at the Van Nuys location because we were nearby, and we saw this huge line of people just waiting to get in, and so we decided, you know what, we're going to the Northridge one, which again is not that far either. So we get there, everything was fine, and we went in there, busy as usual, but there was no toilet paper and no paper towels. And no water other than these like pH balanced
the fancy kind.
The fancy kind, yeah.
Yeah, I saw there was
which Oscar still purchased. By the way.
I purchased it. Yeah.
There was only the smart water bottles at my Vons and Oxnard yesterday. There were actually I met two people from Woodland Hills and Van Nuys that drove up to my area because they said that their produce, the bread, just any basic kind of meats or frozen meats, they were just out of it in all of their stores. So that for them to take that desperate of a measure to go all the way north to get food, that's pretty sad. It sounds crazy, but I hope there's not going to be like a hunger issue that happens at the same time. Because yesterday, Mayor Garcetti said on the news that he met with the large food distributor groups, and he said there's enough food, but again, the demand is getting higher and higher. So that's another question of concern for me.
Yeah. Well, him and the LAPD said today, stop hoarding, basically.
Yeah.
In fact, the LAPD tweeted March 14, during these times, we must work together and not against each other. Here are the facts. There is no food shortage and stores will restock. So please don't hoard. The water supply is clean and safe to drink. So there's no need to buy water in bulk. We are in this together. So, yeah, I mean, everybody's just buying in bulk. I don't get it. And for a little bit, I was thinking about, and I think I even mentioned it to Claire, maybe we should drive out to Santa Barbara and just gotta get our stuff from there.
Right.
But then I find that now they're taking a note from what's happening in LA and they're going out and hoarding things too.
Yeah, I feel like if one area is going to do it, then the other they'll all follow.
Yeah.
So it's kind of sad.
Oh man.
I think there's got to be a good movie or TV show like someone's working on while this is all happening.
Yeah, exactly. I'd watch that.
But yeah, I mean, right now, one of the things that's happening is, you hear about all these deaths related to the coronavirus, but there's a heck of a lot more people that have made a full recovery from it.
Right, but I read, President Trump tweeted, I think it was a few days ago, there was like 24,000 something people that died from the flu, but there's only about like 50 or 60 some people in the United States that have died from the coronavirus. And even people, I mean, even around the world, more people have died from hunger so far.
Yeah.
So I don't really see how this is really going to be any different at this point. And I just think people are just freaking out just a little too much.
Yeah.
Just stay calm, have some faith.
Yeah. Now, in your opinion, what do you think that is? Why are people freaking out?
I think it's because it's brand new and the news right now is constantly updating stories. Like I can't even go on my Facebook feed without seeing a brand new coronavirus story. If I go refresh it, there's another one. So I think there's a sense of the unknown, and that's why people have fear in their hearts and that they're scared. So they're just trying to get prepared as best as they can. For them to even go get the toilet paper and all that stuff, like it's almost like they're preparing for the big one that we're supposed to be having in California, which we haven't gotten yet. And people like never ran to the store to like prepare for that really. And I'm just like, okay.
Yeah. And all the deep cleaning that's going on of all the public spaces.
Yeah.
That should have been going on since before this. Like we should always be deep cleaning heavily used public spaces.
Yeah, washing your hands too.
Yes, like this is nothing new. And maybe because of this outbreak pandemic thing, that maybe we will do more monthly cleanings of the bus systems and different public things. So maybe that's a good silver lining.
Well, and then just talking about washing hands, I've been seeing all these pictures and infograms from health officials about how to wash your hands properly, and
20 seconds.
Yes, and that just got me a little concerned. It's like, don't you know this already?
Yeah. This is something we've been doing even since our parents taught us when we were kids. So it's bizarre. It's crazy.
I saw one that called emotion while washing your hands the bear claw, like just scraping your hands the other side. And I was like, that's a funny name. That's a fun name for a washing your hand technique, the bear claw method.
Bear claw. Oh, that's funny. I saw on Ellen, she did here's the staple, the chapel, open the door, and here's all the people. Oh. She was doing that on her show. That was kind of cute and funny.
Oh, man. So as we're talking, we're also looking at the CDC website, just to see what the latest updates are. But one of the things that I want to talk about, too, was the symptoms, because one of the things that is freaking people out, I think, is the moment they get a little tickle. And, by no means am I a saint on this, because I reading all these stories, and I work in news too. So reading all these stories, writing about all these stories, I felt like I was projecting a little bit of that. So I felt a little tickle on Friday in my throat. And I was like, oh no, I hope it's not the coronavirus. And so I got home and I had a little bit of tequila, not enough to, buzz me or anything, just enough to kill whatever I had in there, which worked. But I don't think it was anything but coronavirus. But I mean, right now, I think you feel something, you automatically think, oh, you have coronavirus.
I think out of all the symptoms that they listed, I think the shortness of breath is probably the biggest distinguished one between everything, because that's what would probably set me off in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, exactly. There was, right now I'm looking at the CDC site. It says to look for the symptoms that apparently appear 2 to 14 days after exposure. And that includes shortness of breath, coughing, which I've heard it's like a dry cough type, and then a fever, of course.
Yeah.
So just those 3 symptoms would be a good indicator that it might be coronavirus. So you better get out and get tested for it.
Yeah. Is there a testing facility open in LA? Is there one? I don't remember where. Is it UCLA that's going to have it? I don't remember. They're preparing tents or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that there was a press conference with Vice President Mike Pence and also President Trump, who basically were saying that they're going to make all these tests available, and they were going to have drive-through testing as well. But they were going to be releasing locations of where that was going to be. So I have not seen those locations yet.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'm sure they're coming.
Yeah, I saw the one in Denver. That was, it's kind of like, are you going because you really think you have the coronavirus? You're just going for the sake of going to get tested, even if you don't feel anything.
Exactly.
I really don't know.
Exactly. Now, here's something from the CDC again: how to protect yourself. So, first of all, we have to know how it spreads. So, this is what they're saying about how this COVID-19 spreads. And it's important to know that there's no vaccine right now to prevent coronavirus. Is there even a vaccine to prevent the common cold? That's also what I'm wondering. Yeah.
There is nothing.
Chicken soup.
Yes.
And vapor rub.
Yes. Good point.
And Sprite. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what do they call it? Like the flu shots even, it's just the virus in its weak form.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you're still probably going to get it. It's just not going to hit you as strong. But there's just, it amazes me that for these other things that we're not really freaking out about, there's really no cure for those either, but we're not really freaking out about them.
Right.
And I think it's definitely a psychological thing, at least in my opinion, where if you feel like there's like a safety net, in this case the flu shot, to help you cope with an illness that comes up, like the flu, then you tend not to freak out as much. Where if you're told there's no vaccine, there's no cure, then you kind of freak out like, oh, if I get it, am I going to die, you know?
I think it's because if I'm correct, the common cold's like 3 to 7 days. The flu is maybe about 7 to 10. And then with the coronavirus, it's supposed to like live in you, what they say, for 37 days. And then it can live for 3 days on the surfaces and then 3 hours in the air.
Yeah.
So I think it's because of the duration of time. Everyone's just kind of like, oh my God,
Yeah.
I'm going to have this in me for that long.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, it even lives on inanimate objects. They said said do not use paper bills because you could live on there for hours. So don't use paper bills. Use your debit card or credit card or even like your Apple Pay, Samsung Pay. In fact, you know,
or buy a gift card to a business. And use that.
And I never realized how many businesses I guess I'm subscribed to because I just started getting all these emails from all these businesses, coffee shops, restaurants, clothing stores. With
COVID-19 updates.
Oh yeah, exactly. And some of them actually put in their policy there on their email saying, pay with your debit card or Apple Pay. And then I went to a Mexican food restaurant out near where I work, and they used to have a salsa bar out and about, and now that's been basically closed down, and they prepackaged the salsa that you have to ask for, basically.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah.
And it just shows that how a health problem can affect everybody, no matter what industry you're in. And it just, again, loops back to just daily sanitizing, cleaning, all that stuff that should be a normal practice.
Right. No, I totally agree.
Yeah. Yeah. So coming back to the CDC, what they recommend, first of all, is knowing how it spreads. So it says the best way to prevent illness is to avoid being exposed to the virus. So the virus is thought to spread mainly from person to person between people who are in close contact with one another within about 6 feet. So that's what they're saying also, like kind of just create this 6 foot gap between you and everybody else, which, I mean, it makes sense on paper, but it's not really practical, especially in LA where it's...
Yeah, there's so many people which want... Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you do it? Just stay home, I guess. On Friday when I went to work, for a Friday, mind you, I'd never seen it this empty on the roadways.
Yes, when I drove down here to do this podcast, I noticed it was more like empty. I called my best friend Anna. I'm like, you should go see your parents right now if you want to go down to Inglewood. This is the best time to go.
Oh, yeah.
And I saw the CHP had the sign up on the their, what do you call it, that electronic board that they have that you can see like the travel times. They're just like the COVID-19, like allow yourself to be distant or something like that when I was driving down.
Yeah.
I'm just like... I'm still coming down to LA. I feel safe. I feel fine.
Yeah, the signs that said COVID-19, less is more, avoid gatherings.
Yeah.
So everyone's getting involved in the messaging.
Oh, yeah.
Like
everybody.
health trends officials, like everybody is going with the coronavirus messaging.
Yeah, and I feel like if one doesn't do it and like follow the trend, if you want to say it, then they're just going to get bashed. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, heck, we're doing that right now. We're participating in the message with hopefully a little bit of comical relief too.
Yes. Yes. Did you see the one with the Oregon Trail where it said you died of coronavirus, you didn't purchase enough toilet paper?
Oh my god.
Did you see that one?
No.
Oh, it's so funny.
That's great.
I used to love playing that game. So.
And only people in our generation would know. The kids these days don't know Oregon Trail.
Oregon Trail. And then, okay, let's actually, before I get back to, check this out. This is what else they say. This is CDC.gov. If you go there, you'll find all this information that we're talking about today. So the virus is also thought to spread through respiratory droplets produced when an infected person coughs or sneezes. These droplets can land in the mouths or noses of people who are nearby or possibly be inhaled into the lungs. So that's why they also say if you're going to cough or sneeze, do it like in the, what would you call it?
The elbow area of the arm?
The crease.
Yeah.
Like
the
crease.
crease.
Yeah.
But then they say also, instead of like handshaking people, elbow bump people. It's like, oh, well, I just coughed there or sneezed there. So here's my elbow bump, which is funny. But yeah.
Yeah.
And then in the workplace right now, whenever you cough or sneeze, I feel like everyone kind of like tenses up or like alerts oh, like, did they do it right? Or what do you have? And so it's just such an interesting time just to do like a normal sneeze or cough that maybe someone has from allergies or whatever.
Oh yeah. I'm a daily allergy sufferer.
Yeah.
So.
And strangely enough, this is not going to be the last thing that's going to be out and about that we're going to be talking about. They say every 10 years there's some sort of pandemic that comes out.
Yeah, I read that. I can't remember. It was like a graphic that they made, and the new illnesses that come out are during election years.
Oh, wow.
I would have to go find that, but I was just like, that's really interesting.
Yeah, no, it totally is.
Politically minded diseases.
Yeah, they know what's up. Okay, so take steps to protect yourself. Again, according to the CDC, clean your hands often. Wash your hands often with soap and water for at least 20 seconds, especially after you have been in a public place or after blowing your nose, coughing, or sneezing. If soap and water are not readily available, use... Oh, and here's the thing. This is another thing that's running out of the supermarkets and other locations, including Staples. We went to Staples and we saw a sign that said, no more hand sanitizers. So they say if soap and water are not readily available, use a hand sanitizer that contains at least 60% alcohol. Cover all surfaces at your hands and rub them together until they feel dry. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth with unwashed hands. Ooh.
Okay.
Yep. That's how you can take... Well, this is just one of the steps to protect yourself. There's also avoiding close contact. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Put distance between yourself and other people. If COVID-19 is spreading in your community, this is especially important for people who are at higher risk of getting very sick. And that actually brings us to our next point. A lot of businesses, companies, they're basically telling their employees, at least some of them, okay, just stay at home, work remotely, whether the company has been impacted by coronavirus or not. Oh, as other companies are coming up with plans to make their employees or have their employees be able to work remotely. Has that happened to you?
That is, it is happening within my company that I work for right now, especially the ones that have children, but I am at this point still required to go to the office. I also work with the public a lot, so I have to go meet them. I have actually done one FaceTime interview with somebody already just because I didn't feel comfortable, but I'm still like going out living my life.
Yeah. And what were you, Claire?
Yeah, my work has made some adjustments for people that can work from home, but I'm still going to work. I mean, if everyone else is at home, then I can go to work and be around nobody. So that's fine with me.
Yeah,
I don't mind.
The news has to keep going.
Yeah, it doesn't stop, and I'm taking precautions, washing my hands. I know my coworkers are, and the workplace has provided extra hand sanitizer and hand wipes and desk wipes. So I feel very comfortable going to work.
That's good.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I'm still going to work.
News doesn't stop. It's got to keep going.
But even like digitally, you could work from home so easily.
That's true.
Yeah. You could. There's one little exception to doing what I do for security reasons. However, my company is also providing a contingency plan in case we have to work remotely. So right now they're like in a testing phase to see what is possible, what is not, and kind of work from there. I mean, the idea is to get everybody to, whether it's a writer, producer, what I do, digital, assignment desk, no matter who it is, be able to somehow do their job remotely because we're all required to do something differently.
But the anchors still have to go in, right?
Well, that's the other thing. They might not have to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if they can patch in remotely somehow using their phones or
that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So it's this big thing, and like I said, this coronavirus is not the last pandemic we're going to hear about. It's important to have all these plans in place. So that's
it's nice that they're taking that step forward to do that. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and
there's a lot of companies I know also that are on just like a hiring temporary freeze right now because of everything going on.
Well, and somehow I feel like maybe a lot more people have been traveling versus past years. Like, for example, I remember the H1N1 swine flu.
Yeah.
It
was like 4 years ago.
Yeah. It wasn't that long ago, and I don't remember it being this crazy.
Yeah.
Nor Zika or Ebola.
Yeah.
Like, those always seem such a far away disease or outbreak.
Exactly.
I never really felt that it got over here so fast.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Take steps to protect others. This is another point from the CDC. So stay home if you're sick. Stay home if you're sick, except to get medical care. Cover coughs and sneezes. Cover your mouth and nose with a tissue when you cough or sneeze, or use inside of your elbow, which we talked about. Throw used tissues in the trash. I thought that would be a given. Where else would you throw these used tissues?
On the carpet.
Yeah, exactly. In the communal fruit bowl. Like, of course, the trash can.
Immediately wash your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. If soap and water are not readily available, clean your hands with a hand sanitizer. It contains 60% alcohol. I feel like that's the magic number, 60% alcohol.
My dad was like, no, it has to be 90%. I'm like,
well, that's
60.
better,
Yeah, it is better. No, I think you heard it. I was telling you about this, that people were going to Bevmos and buying up all the Everclear because it contains 60% alcohol, thinking that if they sip it, it'll kill it.
Oh, jeez. Oh, man. I don't know about sipping.
I haven't had Everclear since I was like in college. I was like, it's such a long time ago.
Oh, man. Yeah, there's a ton of cheap alcohol out there for sure. But, one of the things about hand sanitizers is that they have some type of lotion in there because alcohol, especially at 60% for starters, it's going to dry your hands very quickly. Yeah, that's not going to be good because then you're going to get cracks. In fact, I need some moisturizer right now, but you're going to, you get cracks in your hands, and that's another way that bacteria can get in there from what I've heard in the past from health officials. So, you got to just be careful with that. Oh, here's another thing. Okay, so CDC says you can wear a face mask if you're sick. If you're sick, you should wear a face mask when you're around other people. For example, sharing a room or car, and before you enter a healthcare provider's office. If you're not able to wear a face mask, for example, because it causes trouble breathing, then you should do your best to cover your coughs and sneezes, and people who are caring for you should wear a mask if they enter your room. If you are not sick, you do not need to wear a face mask unless you're caring for somebody who is sick. And they are not able to wear a face mask. Face masks may be in short supply, and they should be saved for caregivers. Here's another point that's come up. So shortage of supplies, especially like it says here for caregivers, and I know a lot of other people that are somewhat in the medical field. They're worried about this shortage of supplies like face masks. Now, have you worn a face mask yet?
The last time I wore a face mask was during the Woolsey fire. That was the last time.
Yeah.
That was like, 2018? So, nope, I haven't worn one yet. If I do fly, I'm supposed to go on a trip to Montana in another month if domestic flights are still allowed. I might actually wear one on the flight just to be a little bit more cautious, but just around town or something, no.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's, what about you, Claire? Have you thought about wearing a mask?
No, if I were to get sick and then need to go into a public place, maybe, but I don't think so.
I have seen people wear it just as a preventative measure. I mean, CDC says you wear a mask, what is this here? Wear a mask if you're sick. But a lot of people that I've seen masks on don't look sick to me. Like, right. For example, I went into an ice cream shop in West LA, and the employees were wearing face masks. And they were still serving. I mean, they were also wearing gloves, and they were serving ice cream and customers that way. But I've just been seeing these masks pop up at places like malls and stuff like that. And
oh wow, yeah, I haven't seen where I live anyone wear a face mask. The last time I saw a lot, obviously, it was just during President's Weekend, I went up to the Redwood National Park, and I had to go from LAX and then there and then home. I went SFO and then LA. And when I got at SFO, there was like a ton of people that had them on. That was the first time I saw like an abundance of people wearing them.
Yeah, and there's some people. I mean, for example, I saw a Fox LA reporter put out a picture of a guy coming out of Costco in a full hazmat suit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen that one. I got to Google that.
I mean, so it's just it's been a little while just to see. I've always seen face masks out here in LA, but not to this level.
Yeah.
They're almost everywhere, and like I said, I've been hearing reports of short supplies regarding face masks. Fox LA even did a whole report with Hal Eisner on a particular hardware store that just got cleaned out of N95 masks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I've seen some YouTubers make their own version of the N95 mask using bras.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. So I don't know how effective that would be.
Can you imagine if we had a wildfire breakout also?
I know,
like
at the
how
same
much
time.
more extra masks would be needed for like smoke related stuff? So, interesting.
Exactly. Oh, Sandy, get over here, Sandy. Sandy is our podcast mascot, little American Cocker Spaniel.
He knows that I'm here. He wants to say something too.
Yeah.
Yes, my little guy.
Now, it's important, again, to clean and disinfect. This is one thing the CDC just keeps saying to people over and over again. Clean and disinfect frequently touched surfaces daily. This includes tables, doorknobs, light switches, countertops, handles, desks, phones, keyboards, toilets, faucets, and sinks. What have we done today? I don't think we've done any of these. No, just kidding. No, we cleaned some countertops and some other stuff. We try to be good.
I clean my apartment once a week, and then we have a protocol at work where someone has to use a Lysol disinfect wipe or something just to do the door handles and then clean down the break room countertops. So
yeah,
lots of deep cleaning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. What do you use? Just Clorox wipes or actual like bleach liquid? What do you do?
I just have the Lysol one, where the one that says it removes 99.9% of the flu or cold virus on surfaces. That's what I use. So.
That's good. Yeah, it says here, if surfaces are dirty, clean them using detergent or soap and water prior to disinfection, which is actually, this is the first time I see something like this, because you would think, okay, I'm just going to grab a Clorox wipes and just clean it up. But apparently here, the CDC says if the surfaces are really dirty, kind of do like a pre-wash. It says use detergent or soap and water, clean that up, and then go over with your disinfecting wipes or disinfecting
Interesting. Okay.
liquid. Yeah. But I guess that's probably if they're really dirty. Although that's actually good practice. I mean, we tend to do it when we use the dishwasher. At least I do, where we just rinse off some of the food so it doesn't get all stuck in the dishwasher. You rinse off a little bit and then put them in there.
And then Cascade does the dirty work.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Although I have heard different variations of how dishwashers work with food, whether you need to pre-wash them or just throw them in there with all this food. I don't know. For my own sake, I just pre-wash them a little bit to get the heavier food chunks out. Yeah. Okay. To disinfect, most common EPA registered household disinfectants will work. Use disinfectants appropriate for the surface. Options include dilute your household bleach. Ooh. To make and then the CDC does provide a recipe for this.
There's a recipe. Okay.
Yeah, we'll say it here in this podcast, but also go to the CDC.gov website and you'll see it here. Okay, so diluting your household bleach. Here's the recipe. To make a bleach solution, mix 5 tablespoons or a third cup of bleach per gallon of water, or 4 teaspoons bleach per quart of water. Follow the manufacturer's instructions for application and proper ventilation. Check to ensure the product is not past its expiration date. Never mix household bleach with ammonia or any other cleanser. Unexpired household bleach will be effective against coronaviruses when properly diluted. And here's another thing too. Coronaviruses. So they say coronaviruses. That means that there's other coronavirus strands out there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I read that like 80% of people will get at least coronavirus strand in their lifetime. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this one we're freaking out about. It's all good.
Yeah, because this is the 19th one.
Oh, I see.
Oh, that's why it's COVID-19?
Well, I mean, I'd have to fact check that one.
Oh, I thought it was COVID-19 because it originated in November last year in China.
Well, it's totally possible. Totally possible. But yeah. But I think all these viruses do tend to mutate over time. A lot of people need something to laugh at right now.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And it's just a shame that I mean, there's sporting events that have been canceled, entertainment events. The other day we were out in Oxnard where there's a comedy club out there at the Collection in Oxnard, and a comedian that was supposed to show up this weekend and perform there, that show actually was canceled.
Yeah, my friend Lena actually went to the comedy club and she was waiting at the door and she found out it was canceled.
Yeah. And
it's like, okay, you couldn't have warned people hours ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Bummer.
Yeah, and I think to me, out of everything, like these shows are probably the most important ones because, like I said, people do need something to laugh at right now, just to, calm the nerves and just get past this stuff. Disneyland closed until the end of the month, and Knott's Berry Farm. Yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of places are going. So, with all these places closing down, what do you do for fun, Kateri?
Do for fun? I mean, besides stay at home and watch Netflix, you can still go to the movies. Mm-hmm. You can still go to restaurants as long as they're open for now. Yeah, that could change in the next hour or two or next day. I don't know. You can still travel somewhere, like just take a little mini trip, I would say.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we watched, Claire and I watched Frozen 2 last night. That actually came out on Disney Plus 3 months before it was supposed to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the Disney actually released Frozen 2 because a lot of schools are closed right now around the country. All these kids are staying home and they need something to do. So Disney thought, okay, well, we'll release Frozen 2, and then that way families can enjoy watching this. And there was a whole news article on this. But that's I'm so curious to find out down the road how much traffic these streaming services got during this time.
Yeah. I think it's probably a high amount.
Are you afraid to travel, Kateri? Right
now? No. I'm a world traveler. That's my biggest hobby. Like I said, I'm supposed to go to Montana next month for a workshop, and I'm just praying it doesn't get canceled. But no, I'm not afraid to go anywhere. Like I said, I work with the public for a living. So for me, for this to be going on, it's just another. Because I did journalism work at one point, and it's no different than me putting my life on the line, quote unquote, and like going to a wildfire or going to a shooting. And I've been to shootings when I was younger. They were still active and going. So for me, I have a different mindset that this is just another thing happening in the world. I got to keep living my life. So.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Doing it without fear.
I want to go to Hawaii because right now tickets are so cheap round trip.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. You said like 200 something?
Mm-hmm.
That's nice.
I just need my husband to get on board.
No, I've told her, just get the tickets. Just get the tickets.
Okay. After the show, buy the tickets.
Yeah, I'll get a few masks to wear and some gloves, and we'll be all good, and we'll be in business.
We'll put Oscar in a bubble suit.
I like that. So I'm just looking at more stuff from the CDC here, but also, there's all these websites, there's all these resources. In fact, I think almost all of these LA stations, news stations, have been doing, well, one, great coverage on the coronavirus, but two, they've talked to professionals as well about the coronavirus, and Fox 11 Los Angeles in particular has this digital town hall on the coronavirus. So they bring in some experts, and right now it's hosted, co-hosted.
Is that the one with Dr. Drew?
Yes, that's the one co-hosted by Dr. Drew. if you go to the Fox 11 Facebook page under the video section, because I mean, let's be honest, like if you try and find it during in the post sections, it's gonna take you forever.
You're gonna get lost.
Oh yeah. If you go to the video section on the Fox 11 Facebook page, then you'll get a chance to see these town halls, and there's a lot of good questions the public puts out, and there was 2 days last week where not only Dr. Drew was in the house, but Dr. Oz too.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah. And so they were, just talking about things that you do. You know, one of the questions that came up was, and it comes back full circle almost in a way, fresh produce. Yeah. Do we need to wash fresh produce in a certain way, or do we need to just avoid fresh produce altogether, thinking that maybe the virus itself would be on the produce? And I believe the answer from Dr. Drew was basically no. Wash them, of course.
Yeah.
Just like you would any other fruit or vegetable that you get from the market. But still eat it. Still good.
Yeah.
So don't avoid it.
You still want your squash, I know.
Oh, I really wanted that squash. Yeah. Claire, do you have anything else you want to add to your coronavirus fears?
I'm just thinking about all the parents and families with all the schools being closed, what an impact that'll be on their lives. And and I've been really happy to see that a lot of communities are stepping up with their food banks to still provide meals to those kids that relied on the school lunches and breakfasts for their food for the day. So that's been really cool to see. And just always during times of disaster and uncertainty, you can always find the community coming together. So that's really cool to see.
Yes, I agree.
Why do you think you're not really intimidated by what's happening now, Claire?
I guess maybe because it's not affecting me personally. Mm-hmm. Like I don't know anybody that has it, or I'm not. It's not touching my life personally, other than my job. Mm-hmm. But just being able to just cover the news and just provide the information that government officials are telling us and health officials, and then bring that back to the community. I think that's really the only way it's affecting me. Mm-hmm. And just trying to be clean, washing hands and all that type of stuff. But I'm not afraid because I just take steps to be healthy all the time. Mm-hmm.
Oh, what about you, Kateri? What eases your mind about all this?
What eases my mind? I mean, like I said earlier, I've done just journalism work. So for me, this is it's just another thing. I have one of those people. I'm just one of those people where I just take things head on. I'm very boots on the ground and just live my life and just put the best practices for my life, like Claire said, washing your hands or just taking good care of yourself. But I'm not afraid to just still go out there and just interact with the community, or just like on Friday night, I went to a brewery with my friend, a Transmission Brewery, actually, where I didn't get transmitted anything. But you just have to keep going forward. I think this is eventually going to die down. Mm-hmm. It's just the question is when it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think Dr. Anthony, we can't figure out how to say his last name, Fauci? The guy, the CDC guy that's over in DC, he's talked to the Senate. He said that usually like pandemics like this last between 2 to 8 weeks. Mm. So I'm kind of hoping he's right.
Yeah.
Because I think it would be nice to have some normalcy back in America again once we get through this.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I feel like people, especially in the LA area, Southern California, have been ripped of their culture, basically.
Yeah.
Like I said, entertainment venues have been canceled, sporting events canceled for the season or postponed. I mean, you can't really do much at this point.
I think the only time it's felt surreal to me is especially when I went to the grocery store last night. Uh-huh. Like I said, with the people coming up into my area, just looking for food, and we're just pitching ideas like, oh, maybe you can substitute this instead of that. And just, I was like in a daze just walking around Vons for like an hour. It wore me out. I wanted to go home. But other than that, and then driving on the freeway today, that was the second thing where it was just practically like just dead.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, it's definitely surreal for me as well, just experiencing all this. But I'm not actually worried too much either. But we are just being careful.
Yeah.
As best as we can.
Yeah.
Especially like I said, the CDC and other health organizations are saying those that are most at risk are the elderly and the ones that have underlying health issues. So for us, it's right now at least just as a precaution. Again, not that we're worried or anything, but just as a precaution, we're staying away from our families, like our parents, for the time being.
Yeah, mine are in Florida. So.
Yeah, that's good.
we got a lot of social distancing.
Yeah.
They're over in Florida.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the other thing. People, these health pros are talking about just social distancing, but that's really hard to do at airports, for example, now.
Did you see last night what happened at Dallas, Fort Worth, and O'Hare?
No. What happened?
Okay, there was this swarm of people that were just going downstairs because they have to go through immigration.
Yeah.
Whether you're coming from Europe or you're an American, and then you have to go through like 2 or 3 rounds of customs and get tested for the coronavirus when you got back. And the Illinois governor was so ticked off because there were thousands of people. They were waiting between 4 to 6 hours, depending on which news outlet you read. And he was just saying, calling out President Trump and Vice President Pence, just saying, we really need some more help here. And then he ended up by saying the federal government has to get their blank together.
Yeah.
So you can fill in that word, but
yeah.
I thought that was pretty awesome. I was like, I'm glad that he's stepping up for his state. But yeah, it was crazy. They just all came back from Europe at once. I think it's because there's like a deadline cutoff or something like that.
Yeah.
I just can't remember when it was, and that's why the swarm of them just came back.
Wow.
They're supposed to. It's 13 different airports throughout the country. LAX is one of them. I don't know if they came back last night or not. I didn't see anything about LAX, but it was pretty crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, just before we wrap this podcast, I want to go over just the symptoms one more time because, and again, this is information coming from CDC.gov. These are the emergency warning signs for COVID-19 that should raise a red flag and you should seek attention immediately. So these emergency warning signs include difficulty breathing or shortness of breath, persistent pain or pressure in the chest, new confusion or inability to arouse, bluish lips or face.
Okay.
So, these are the emergency warning signs for COVID-19, according to the CDC. They also say this list that we just mentioned is not all-inclusive, so you have to consult with your doctor to get the other symptoms you're experiencing. But that's why these tests are important. And how do you feel about people that are self-quarantining?
How do I feel? If I'm starting to wonder if they were exposed to somebody, especially like in the workplace. I think there's a requirement that you have to self-quarantine if you're exposed to it after 14 days, right?
Yeah.
Or is it only that person that got sick?
Well, I've heard that if you come from if you're a traveler and you're coming back from a place that is known to have cases of COVID-19, you have to self-quarantine.
I got it. Okay.
Yeah, but what about all those folks that have not traveled? So, like you said, I think if you might have been interacted with somebody that has now tested positive, I don't know if there's a particular checklist you have to go through to at that point self-quarantine.
Yeah, I don't know either.
But definitely I would say talk to doctor to see what they recommend. But yeah, I don't know all the rules of self-quarantining because you try and tell that to your work now and they just think you're full of it.
I think it's good to take precaution if you're not sick, if you came across a person like that for a short period of time. But then, if you start experiencing symptoms, then go get tested. But I think before that, I think it should be okay just to go to work as long as you're not feeling anything.
Exactly. All right. Before we wrap it up then, Claire, do you have anything else you'd like to add? Any final words?
No, I think that's good. Just keep washing your hands. Oh, yeah. when this thing is over, that doesn't mean stop washing your hands. Just keep washing your hands.
Exactly. Kateri, any last...
Oh, she stole my words. I would say to everyone in Los Angeles, just wash your hands. Just just try to live your life just as normal as you can right now, and just try to have some faith in your heart and just keep going forward. We're gonna get through this.
Good. Well, thank you both. And if you have any questions or comments regarding this episode or the podcast in general, send them to hangrymexicanpodcast@gmail.com. I would love to feature some of your comments on a later episode. And please rate the Hangry Mexican Podcast on Apple Podcasts and all other major platforms we're streaming on. The more you rate, the more ears this podcast will reach. Thank you for listening, and until next time, stay safe, good night, and good luck.